Hi, it's Jan Beta again, and today we are concerned with this machine again, the Commodore 64. I took this bread bin model for two reasons. A, I find it quite a bit more nice to look at because it's the original model than the flat C64-2 or C as it's called that we had in the last video. Plus, it has way worse picture quality than the other one. The C64, every model that there is, has this AV out jack, which is a combined video and audio output, which comes with this DIN jack here. It outputs a composite signal, which you can easily use by just using any old cable that you have laying around. There are a lot of cables. Looks something like this, which is, it's quite yellowed because it's from the 80s apparently. It's an original cable, which comes with an RCA jack on the one side and with the DIN connector on the other side. This works quite well, but the picture quality is far from perfect. What I'm using for looking at the picture that comes out of the 64 is something like this, which is an old TV DVB T stick, which has this flimsy little adapter that enables it to display composite signal that is inputted here through this flimsy little RCA jack, and the audio is fed in there through this audio jack, which is, I have to use an adapter because, basically it's very flimsy and doesn't work that well, and the picture quality is far from perfect. So, I had a look at the pinout of the Commodore 64 DIN jack that we saw. And it has a variety of signals on there, which is, there's the luma signal, which is basically the brightness of the picture. There's ground, of course. There's an audio out. There's the composite out, which combines the video signals. There's an audio in, which is quite interesting because the SID chip, which is the sound chip in the C64, has an audio input on one pin, which you can use for funny stuff. I never tried anything like that. I might try it in another video. The chroma is basically the color signal, and pin 7 and 8 are free. On some 64s there's 5 volts DC coming from pin 8, but that's only, as far as I have heard, it's only the very first models. The very, very first models of the C64 also they just had, I think 5 pins on this jack here, which they had just the composite out and not the separate luma and chroma out. Which is quite interesting because I researched the output of the S video, the common jack, which is another DIN connector, but I think it's called mini DIN. It's a lot smaller, but has quite the same features. It's a round jack with an indentation here, so you can't insert the plug the wrong way around. And basically what you need to have an S video signal coming out of one of these is a ground. We have a ground on the other one. And you need a luma, the brightness, which we have on pin 1 here. And you need a chroma, the color, which we have on pin 6 here. So what I'm going to try is to build an S-video output cable. And I researched a bit on the internet, and basically the first thing that I found on Google was a very, very good and detailed walk through all the steps that are necessary to build something like this, and I'm basically going to follow this and make a video of how I follow the instructions that are given. And I'm going to link it in below in the video description, so you can also have a look at the instructions there and follow along. Yeah, I'm going to show every step that I'm taking here, and I hope that I can make this work, and I hope that you can build something like this following my instructions or the instructions in the link. So let's get it on. What we're going to need for this project is, of course, the matching DIN plug, which is this one. I'm going to put a link in the description. There are basically two versions of these. So this is the version that we need. It's basically formed like a horseshoe. And yeah, the other version is a half circle here, the pins. So this is the right version. The other version will fit with a bit of force, I think, but you'll rather damage your jack on the computer, which is not very nice, of course. So yeah, we're gonna need this, and we're gonna use a cheap S-video cable with the mini DIN connectors there. We're gonna use basically we're gonna cut this in half and use 1/2 of it. I don't know which length I ordered. 2 meters. So yeah, let's basically we could make 2 1-meter cables from this, I guess. And we're gonna need a RCA audio cable for the audio connections, basically. Yeah, basically we're gonna cut this and see with the multimeter which pin has which color of wire, and we're going to attach the wires accordingly. We're also going to need a 330 ohms resistor that we're going to put near this plug on the chroma line, because the chroma that the Commodore 64 outputs is a bit higher than the standard S-video. That's basically all we need, so yeah, let's get it on, I say. So first step is cutting this in half. I think 1 meter of cable is enough, and we could make 2 of these just by cutting this in half with a pair of pliers. So, wow, these are quite dull. So yeah, now we just use one of the halves and strip these wires and determine with the multimeter which pin is which wire in here. And I'm gonna note it down on a piece of paper, old school. So okay, here's my setup. I just used my stand here, my third hand, to hold the plug as well as the end of cable. And I'm going to use my multimeter in the continuity testing mode to see which pin is which. So the pin 1 is the white one. That's our ground. I'll just write down white. And pin 2 should also be ground, which is this pin here. It's the yellow one. Pin 3. Maybe the red one? No. The pink one. Okay, pin 3. The luma is the pink wire. And the other one has to be, yeah, the chroma. This is the red wire. So basically we can solder this together now, I guess. So it's always a good idea to tin the ends of the wires here, I guess. So let's do that. Soldering iron is not yet heated up. Time for a bit of a commercial break. No, it's not. By the way, I'm not gonna do commercials. I basically have ticked the option to not show commercials on my YouTube channel because I basically hate commercials. And yeah, basically what I'm planning is to make no advertising on my channel. Of course, what I'm also gonna do is to cut the audio cable to the desired length as well. Because, basically, it's a 1 meter cable, so we cut it right at the end, obviously. So there we go, cut off. These can go to the trash. And we strip this as well. Now is probably a good time, before you solder on the connectors, to put some heat shrink tubing over there to hold together the cables. So I'm gonna cut some like 1 centimeter long pieces of this, I guess, and put them over the cable so that the two cables, or rather 3 cables, will be nicely connected. And also you have to put this over the cables, so yeah, you won't be able to do it once you've soldered the connector on there. So now's a good time to do that. I'm gonna cut this and put it over the cables off camera, because I want to spare you my swearing, basically, because it's a bit fiddly to put this over there. The cables are quite thick, I guess. But it's gonna fit. I'm quite optimistic about that. So it was a tight fit, but I got the heat shrink tubing over there and also the casing for the connector. So now it's basically time to start soldering, I guess. So let's do that, because I have to strip these wires and tin the ends of this a bit so that we can solder it. By the way, when you get these connectors, make sure you get the version that has hollow pins on this side. There's also a version that has solid pins, which is a bit cheaper, I guess, but this makes soldering on these so much easier. So always, this goes for all the DIN type connectors, always, if you have the chance to choose, always choose these ones. Spares you so much trouble when you're soldering these. Speaking from experience here. Such a pain in the ass to solder these. And yeah, this makes it a lot easier already. It's still a pain in the ass, but a smaller pain in the ass, I would say. So I'm going to attach the 330 ohm resistor to the chroma line, which is the red line on our S-video connector here. And yeah, basically cut the red wire a bit shorter, because the resistor has to fit in the DIN plug later. I'll tin this again, because I just cut it. Was a bit of an afterthought. So I'm gonna cut the leads here. By the way, you can keep the lead, or one of the leads. That will come in handy later. That's what we're gonna see. So I'm gonna keep a bit there. So there we go. Should be nicely connected. Yes, it is. So for the next step, we're gonna twist the video grounds together. I also twisted together the audio grounds, and we have the two separate video, the chroma and the luma lines here, and the audio lines for left and right channel, which we're gonna twist together later, because the Commodore 64 clearly has only mono audio output. We're just doing the two audio jacks for convenience, so you can plug it into modern devices and you have not only one speaker playing the sound, but both. What you have to keep in mind if you get the pinouts here from Wikipedia or something like that, basically you have to be aware of from which side you're looking at the connectors or the jacks. Most of the times you're looking at the jacks. But yeah, I have made this picture so that you're looking at this connector from here. This is basically, this is the way it goes from the front of the connector, because that's what we need. And you're looking at the jack on the Commodore 64, which would be the soldering, the side you're soldering on the DIN plug, not this side, the plug side. So yeah, always keep in mind that you don't get confused with the location from where you are looking at these. If you're soldering on there, you can easily swap pins and stuff like that if you don't know which direction you are looking at. So this is the jack, as I've stated here. This is the plug from the front. Another thing that we're going to do, which is a neat little trick that is suggested in the little website I got this from, is to connect the ground to the audio in of the SID chip, which is on pin 5 here. So you connect pin 2 and pin 5, which basically is a bit of a noise reduction, because audio in shorted to ground means there's no audio input on the SID chip and it's completely silent. Basically what the audio in does on the SID chip is to have an audio input that is fed through to the output, and you can also apply to some extent the filters of the SID to the audio input. But yeah, basically that's a feature that no one ever uses except for some avant-garde musicians, I guess. So for this cable, which is clearly designed to connect a Commodore 64 to a television or a monitor with the S-video input, we're going to short these so that we have a little less noise on the audio line. That's what it's for. And for that, the site suggests that we build a fork out of one of the connector, one of the resistor legs. I'm gonna bend it like this. And we have a little fork that we can insert into pin 2 and 5 of the DIN plug later. So here's a little fork. Turned out quite well, I guess. Hope we can fit this into the DIN connector later. I have my pin out here, and I have the DIN connector attached here. And yeah, let's see. So we're gonna solder both audio cables, because it's mono audio, to pin 3 on the DIN connector here. And these audio cables are quite thick. It's not very helpful here. Yeah, that should do it, I guess. Oh, feels quite okay. So the ground fork goes to pin 2 and 5, which are the middle pin and the pin next to it. Let's see if we can get that in there. Well, this could be quite a bit shorter, this fork here, so I'm just gonna cut this down to a fraction of the length, actually. So let's insert this. Yeah, this looks a bit tidier than before. Yep, this should be in there. Pins are getting quite hot, by the way. I burned my finger a bit there. So, on to the video connections. So what we're going to have to do is to put the chroma with our little resistor on it. And we're also going to add some heat shrink tubing there, so it doesn't short out anywhere. So the chroma goes into the middle pin here. I think I'll shrink this before. We've all seen that there's a resistor in there. Yeah, sadly my camera didn't record when I soldered the remaining wires. Yeah, the luma goes on pin 1 and the chroma goes on pin 6 as we saw. And then you just slide it all together and the cable's finished and it's nice and shiny. So yeah, let's connect it to C64 and test it out. And yeah, the quality of the pictures you're gonna see is quite a bit flickering because my little USB stick I'm using is not that good anyway, and it has some loose contacts in this flimsy little connector that I showed in the beginning of this video. So the quality with this cable on a proper device will be much better than what you're gonna see now, but there are some differences you can see from the composite and the S-video signals. The S-video is a lot crisper and yeah, a lot sharper in the end. So yeah, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel even. There's gonna be a lot more like this. And yeah, basically, if you want to stay in contact, follow me on Twitter. I'm quite active there at the moment. And yeah, I'm at Beta. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.